Step back to ancient Egypt, a civilization that thrived for thousands of years and left behind an incredible legacy. But, as fascinating as their achievements were, some creepy practices were considered normal in ancient Egyptian society. From mummification to animal worship, from curses to magical spells, the ancient Egyptians had a unique and sometimes unsettling way of life that still fascinates us to this very day. Are you ready to uncover the creepy secrets of this ancient civilization? On number 16, the mummification and the art of preserving the dead. Have you ever wondered how the ancient Egyptians preserved their dead? Mummification was a complex and fascinating process that involved a great deal of skill and knowledge. The process began by removing the internal organs and treating the body with preservatives. Next, the body was wrapped in thin layers of linen and placed in a coffin, sometimes accompanied by amulets and other offerings. Mummification was a way to ensure that the deceased would have a successful journey to the afterlife, as it was believed that the body needed to be intact for the soul to continue its journey. On number 15, the servants buried alive with their masters. Did you know that in ancient Egypt, servants were not uncommon to be buried alive with their masters? In the belief system of ancient Egypt, it was believed that the soul needed servants in the afterlife, just as it did in life. Therefore, it was customary to sacrifice enslaved people or servants upon the death of their masters so that they can continue to serve them in the afterlife. These human sacrifices were known as retainers, and they were believed to ensure a comfortable and prosperous afterlife for the deceased. On number 14, the use of human body parts in medicinal practices. Did you know that the ancient Egyptians used human body parts in their medicinal practices? Medicine in ancient Egypt was a combination of science and magic, and the use of human body parts was common. Some parts, such as the heart, were believed to have special powers and were left in the body during mummification. All other parts, like bones, hair, and urine, were used in various remedies. It was believed that although this practice may seem strange today, it highlights ancient Egyptian society's unique beliefs and practices and their complex approach to medicine. On number 13, the power of curses. Did you know that the ancient Egyptians believed in the power of curses? To them, curses were a potent tool for invoking the wrath of the gods and punishing wrongdoers. Curses could be written on papyrus or inscribed on amulets, often accompanied by terrifying images or symbols. They could protect tombs from grave robbers or punish those who committed crimes. Even the dead could be cursed, with tombs often filled with warnings to ward off potential thieves. The idea of the mummy's curse, in which those who disturbed the tomb would be punished, is still popular today. On number 12, crocodiles. Have you ever wondered what the ancient Egyptians thought of crocodiles? To them, these fierce creatures were both fascinating and terrifying. Crocodiles were seen as powerful symbols of strength and were often associated with the god Sobek, who was believed to have a crocodile's head. However, crocodiles were also a real threat to the people living along the Nile, as attacks were common. The ancient Egyptians devised creative solutions to protect themselves, including building fences and traps to capture crocodiles. These reptiles were then killed and mummified as offerings to Sobek. Hello there, fellow history buffs. Are you ready to be creeped out by ancient Egypt's strange and eerie practices? Then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Ancient History. We'll give you more intriguing videos just like this one. Number 11. Professional mourners. Did you know that in ancient Egypt there were professional mourners? The job of a professional mourner was to publicly display grief at funerals, a practice considered necessary to honor the deceased. These mourners were typically women hired to cry, wail, or sing at funeral dirges. They would also perform physical displays of grief, such as tearing their hair and clothing. The role of the professional mourner was to help the community grieve and to ensure that the deceased received a proper send-off to the afterlife. Number 10. The fake beard. Can you imagine someone wearing a fake beard in a day-to-day life? In ancient Egypt, a pharaoh's beard was considered a symbol of their power and divinity. However, not all pharaohs could grow a full beard, so they often wore fake beards made of various materials such as metal, leather, or gold. These beards were typically attached to a strap and worn around the chin, giving the pharaoh a more regal and powerful appearance. The use of fake beards highlights the importance placed on appearance and symbolism in ancient Egyptian culture and the lengths that people would go to maintain their status and power. On number 9, the blind man. Legend has it that there was once a blind man gifted with the ability to see the future. His prophecies were so accurate that people from far and wide came to seek his guidance. One day, the pharaoh came to the blind man, seeking to know the outcome of a great battle. The blind man refused to answer, stating that he had seen the pharaoh's death shortly. The pharaoh was enraged and ordered the blind man to be put to death, but not before the blind man revealed the reason for the pharaoh's death that would come at the hands of his son. Number 8. Clay Men. How could we not mention the clay men of ancient Egypt? Legend has it that a powerful magician once created a group of clay men to do his bidding. The magician imbued these clay men with life and sent them to the world to carry out his tasks. The clay men were obedient and tireless, and they quickly gained a reputation for their efficiency and effectiveness. However, the magician soon grew greedy and demanded more and more clay men. Eventually, the clay men rebelled, turning on their creator and destroying him. Number 7. Seeding the river. Do you know what seeding the river means? The Egyptians would scatter seeds into the river yearly when the Nile River flooded. These seeds would sink to the riverbed and take root, creating a lush underwater garden. The practice was believed to be a way of appeasing the river gods and ensuring a bountiful harvest. It was also a practical way of improving soil fertility, as the river would deposit rich silt onto the lands during the flood season. The practice of seeding the river highlights the deep connection that ancient Egyptians had with the natural world and their reverence for the forces of nature that sustained their civilization. Number 6. Medicine number 2. Legend has it that the second medicine has a potent elixir that could cure any ailment. The recipe was known only to the priests of the god Thoth, who guarded it closely. It was said that the ingredients included rare and exotic plants and the powdered bones of ancient sages. The elixir was so powerful that it was only administered to the most important and deserving members of society. This would include pharaohs and their family. Number 5. The ancient pregnancy test. So, how did they do a pregnancy test back then? The test involved the woman urinating on a mixture of barley and wheat. If the grain sprouted, it was believed to be a sign that the woman was pregnant. Surprisingly accurate, the test was used for thousands of years in ancient Egypt. It was even mentioned in some of the medical texts of the time. The use of simple, natural methods to determine pregnancy is a testament to the ingenuity of ancient Egyptian medicine and the importance of observing the natural world to understand the human body. Number 4. Masculine periods. Do you know about the concept of masculine periods in ancient Egypt? According to some historical medical texts, men were thought to have a monthly cycle, similar to a woman's menstrual cycle. It was claimed that this masculine period was characterized by mood swings, irritability, and a need for solitude. The texts advise men to stay away from alcohol and spiciness during this time and to relax by reading and writing. Even though this idea may seem strange to us, it illustrates how the ancient Egyptians valued maintaining a healthy physical and mental balance and had a sophisticated understanding of human physiology. On number 3, the monkey cops. Have you ever heard of the monkey cops of ancient Egypt? These were not your ordinary police officers, but a group of specially trained monkeys tasked with maintaining order in the bustling streets of ancient Egyptian cities. These clever creatures were trained to recognize criminals and mischief makers and could even apprehend them and bring them to justice. Monkeys were highly respected and revered in ancient Egyptian society, and were often depicted in art and mythology. The story of the monkey cops speaks to the ingenuity and creativity of ancient Egyptian culture, and their ability to think outside of the box when it comes to problem solving. On number 2, the Pharaoh's trumpet. Have you ever heard of the trumpet of the Pharaoh? Ancient Egyptian legend claimed that the pharaohs had a powerful trumpet that could summon the spirits of the dead. When blown by the pharaoh, the trumpet's eerie notes would call forth the spirits of the dead, who would then impart knowledge and wisdom to the living. The story of the pharaoh's trumpet reflects the respect and faith that the ancient Egyptians had for their ancestors and the afterlife, as well as their conviction that music could bridge the gap between the living and the dead. And on number 1, funerary text guides to the afterlife. Did you know that ancient Egyptians believed in an afterlife that they could meticulously prepare for it? The funerary texts were a collection of religious and magical texts buried with the deceased to guide the journey to the afterlife. These texts were written on papyrus scrolls and included spells, hymns, and instructions on navigating the perilous journey to the underworld. They also contained descriptions of the various obstacles and challenges the deceased would encounter on their journey and how to overcome them. Thank you for watching our video on the creepy things that were normal in ancient Egypt. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button, share with your friends, and subscribe to our channel, Ancient History, for more captivating content just like this. Now it's time for a question for you to answer in the comment section below. What's the creepiest thing that you've ever learned about ancient Egypt? We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions.